This episode of Geek Gamer Live is brought to you by our very own Roku app for Geek Gamer TV. You can go back and watch back catalog of all the Geek Gamer Weekly shows, Minecraft Me, specials, and a whole lot more. Head over to ggtv.me/Roku to add it to your Roku today. Everybody, welcome again to a new edition of the Geek Gamer Show. It's been a long time since we've done this show, and I don't know, it feels like the time's right to bring it back, to talk about the latest in gaming and technology and what's going on with our friends and in the technology and gaming world, as well as our friends in real life. And so we are back and to do a show. Now, we have the same cast of characters, and then going forward in this show, in this lineage, we'll have interviews and other cool, neat tricks and tips and things like that that will happen as time goes by. So if you miss Lloyd and Nick and Michael and many, many others, we'll hope to bring them on in the show in the future. This show will not always be live on Sundays. It will sometimes not even be live at all. We'll just record an episode, or I'll record an interview and post it up online for this show. And so if you subscribe, you're already getting this show. And if you're not subscribing and you want to go back and subscribe, we'll tell you all about it later on in the show. But I'm Chase, and joining me this week, first off, I'm going to introduce him because, you know, I always look over my desk and I look over and I say, and joining me as always is my good friend, John Kessler. But as you could see there on your screen, just there's a little bit of parts of the light there, and there's a curtain back there, and there's no John. But we do have him on a technology known as telephone. And so let's say hello to Mr. John Kessler via phone. Hi, John.
Hi.
How's it going? How you feeling?
Just ducky.
Wow.
Just wrapped up a 4-day fun fly thing with the RC helicopters and quads. Some good times and extreme craziness. I'll be forwarding you an email later on this week once I see videos up online of some of the craziness that happened over the weekend.
Sweet.
Because once the lights go down, once it gets dark, they have 3 big lights set up. And the pro guys come out and they stand like kind of by the middle light, and they just got the whole run, and it's amazing. Or it just looks really cool on these big 700 series when the just the lights on the rotors compared to watching them during the day. It's a total night and day thing, and then it's craziness. But I'm kind of excited and buzzed.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think, you know, and by the way, we got Joe and Cameron here as well. I don't think we've ever heard you say anything more than 2 or 3 sentences.
Yeah, well, it happened.
So, do you have to leave, or do you get to? Are you going to stay for a bit?
I can stay for a few minutes.
Okay, all right. Well, as John is staying for a few minutes, let me welcome into the show the before mentioned Mr. Joseph Falbey. Hey, Joe.
Hey.
Can you believe John's actually talking more than a few sentences and he's not in studio? That's like, it's weird.
Well, we've always said when it's something he gets excited about, he will talk quite a bit about it.
That's true. And then we just let him go with it.
Yep, pretty much.
And then Cameron Atchley's here. Cameron, man. Hey, man.
How's it going?
Good, man. Looking forward to seeing you up here in just a week short time, actually, this Friday. Are you all booked up and ready for your trip up north?
Yep, got my tickets purchased today. We'll relay that information to you afterwards.
Sweet. Cool. So why don't we talk about PAX? Penny Arcade Expo 2015 is happening this coming weekend. We will be there in full force, doing interviews and that sort of thing. We talked about on the Minecraft Me show where we found out that the Minecraft story mode by Telltale Games will be at the show with a playable demo for the first time. They did obviously show off at Minecon, screens and video clips from the game, but it was not playable, but it will be playable. we're cautiously optimistic about it. I know we talked about that, but do you have any interest in the story mode at all, Cameron?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to see what they do with it. It's another dimension on the game, make it extend its life, essentially.
Okay, fair enough. John, you haven't played Minecraft in a while. We haven't seen you on the server, no doubt because
No.
No. So, what's the deal, man?
But that should be fixed soon. Actually, I after we get off the phone here, I'm going to go pick up from work my new power supply and maybe actually work on getting my computer back together and working tonight.
Oh, that would be a smart idea. Then we can actually start playing games again.
Yep.
How have you been handling, by the way, since your machine isn't hooked up, your Eve? Because I know that must be an addiction that's really tough to kick.
Yeah, it's been absolutely non-existent. There was offers from my fellow players to help me get a new one, and I just kind of begged off on it. But I'm still hosting our TeamSpeak server for them. And I've also heard that in the interim of me being gone and then something going on, we lost some major resources in game because none of the directors, which I'm one of, was around to take care of business. It's like, uh-oh. So it'll be interesting to get back in and find out how much stuff that I lost personally in the loss in the game there. But
I just personally can't believe that you've been out of the game that long. It hasn't been eating away at your soul or anything like that. But
well, I mean, it is. It has, and but I, with the new work stuff that I'm doing right now, I've just been massively busy. I've been working. I haven't even taken a break. I mean, this whole thing's been kind of work related that I was just at as well.
Well, that's something.
Just minutes before you guys called, I just got home finally.
Well, that's something to actually discuss because you now have a gig that you deal with remote control planes and helicopters and quadcopters and things like that, right? Yep. So that's new for you.
Yep, and I still have yet, other than I found out that there's a reason why I can't fly it. It's got a motor that's real lagging behind the others. The only thing I've tried to fly was a little Proto Nano quad. I was getting frustrated because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't even get the thing to come straight up off the deck, my coffee table here. It was a used one. It was just given to me, and I was just like, oh, okay, here, mess around with this. The battery's going kind of weak on it. And I was like, ramp crash. What the heck? And I finally rolled through real slow to find out that one motor lags behind the other three. So there's there's no stability in that.
Now, some people that are watching our show live are trying to figure out why they can't see you. And I have to remind everybody, if you're watching the video stream, John is not invisible. John is calling us from something called a telephone. Some newfangled piece of technology.
It's what they used to use before texting was invented.
Right.
Yeah, Joe, did you actually see that picture I sent you earlier today?
I looked at it, but I didn't look at it closely.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll get
that was a nice shot of one of the guys with the nitro. And they're still, because this guy's still running the nitro plant, choppers, and there's some guys that swear by those, and some guys swear by the electric ones. So it's kind of a mixed crowd there, but
yeah,
it was.
Yeah. You'll have to let me know when next year's is with a little bit more warning, and maybe I can make it up for it.
Yeah, it was kind of tough with being this weekend and then PAX, and then on a personal note, I'm supposed to be working this whole next week because the fair's coming up, and I actually have to go down to my folks' to fix my mom's car, so she's got a ride. So going, no, I wasn't really ready for. I was supposed to be working this entire next week. Because I'm supposed to be working weekends now. Now I got to take that off for PAX.
I can't believe John's talking so much. I mean, he should be here. All I'm saying is, man, we haven't done a show in what?
Well, maybe
months?
Maybe it's because he's on the phone, and so he can't be distracted by other things. So instead, just call him every time.
Well, I was gonna say
I'm on the phone.
John,
and when's the last time we did a show? It was like a lot's gone on since the last time we did a show, and
that's a fair point,
like I said, I'm still kind of winding up from this thing that I was just at. for like the next show, we're going to have PAX to talk about. So that'll be good and exciting too.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why we're doing this show now. This is the PAX preview show with, catching up on old things. And then, yeah, John. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Nice job. Thumbs up. I was going to show you our new mic flag, but you probably can't see this.
Nope.
No. All right. Well, John, I think we're going to let you go, man. I'm not going to keep you on the phone forever, but we'll have you here in studio next week. How's that sound? Yep. All right. Everybody say goodbye to John. Have a good one, John.
Yep. Ciao, folks. Yep.
Thanks.
Take care.
See ya. Bye.
See you guys next weekend.
See you guys this week. See you on Thursday, which will mean he'll show up on Friday because John likes to be late. So there you go. Now, this, by the way, I was showing to all of our video peoples. This is the new microphone flag. A microphone flag is the little display area that goes underneath the microphone. And I got it from MikeFlags.com. Not free. They're not a promotional, or anything like that. But I think it looks great. It's a little bit smaller, compact, and it looks good. Goes with the new branding and stuff. Other than that, what has been going on? Well, we've been continuing and still doing the Minecraft Me show, and that's up to episode 186, 4, 2, I don't know, 180 something. We're going to stop that at episode 199.
Ouchie, stop saying that.
Get the kids all wound up.
Well, it's surprising that Cameron. A lot of kids did email in, and they were wondering, hey, please don't leave. So hopefully we can get some more people to support us on Patreon, so we don't leave.
Yeah,
because
So, but speaking of Cameron, I don't think you've officially introduced Cameron.
I did.
You did?
Did you?
I did.
Oh, okay, all right.
Joe,
I heard John, and then all we did was talk to John for like 20 minutes.
No, we talked to Cameron.
Okay.
Cameron.
Right,
See, there's John, and then there's you, and then I said, here's Cameron, man.
There's me.
Good.
Yeah. By the way, Cameron, we need to do something about your background. We can get some posters. We can do a green sheet behind you.
I can get a green sheet. I just need to know, is there a specific color green?
Green screen green.
Okay, then.
You're right, Joe. What? I mean, green screen green. I mean, you can look it up online. I mean, it's a specific. It's like creeper green almost. It is. I mean, I found a sheet down at Michael's or something where I paid like $20 for it, and I put it on my back wall. Gribbs Minion saying slime green in the chat room, so that that might work.
There you go.
Yeah.
Chroma key green studio backdrop. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, and then we can chroma key you via remote. The only problem is you need to have pretty good lighting. Joe already has the lighting. Joe has good lighting because I gave him a lighting kit, an extra one that I had. All right. What have you been up to, by the way, Cameron? Anything you want to share with the peoples over the past year? I mean, you haven't been on the show in nearly a year.
Oh, mainly just working to keep a bunch of computers running from people with too many letters after their names, essentially.
I was going to say, do you still work for the government? Do you work for some 3-letter agency still or something like that? Or
yeah, I'm contracted to Fish and Wildlife Service.
Ah, okay. The Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Well, Department of Interior.
Oh, the Department of Interior.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, isn't the secretary not sure of the Department of Interior?
Could be.
Joe,
No,
Secretary not sure.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I know Leslie Knope ran part of it.
that's the city of Pawnee.
No. She in the last season she got promoted and was running the Central District for the Department of the Interior.
Oh wow, I didn't know this. I've missed this. Yeah. I haven't watched.
You need to go back and watch Parks and Rec.
I haven't watched Parks and Rec in I don't know how long.
Well, since before the last season.
Okay, at least since before the last season.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, Joe? You want to catch up the listeners and viewers on where you've been, what you've been up to?
I spent a disproportionate, just an unusually large amount of time this week at the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah, you actually tweeted tweeted that you were there, which was shocking.
Yes, yeah, it shocked. A number of people replied and said they were surprised to see a tweet. Yeah, so yeah, I spent a surprising amount of time there, getting some equipment installed, and then on Friday, actually, I don't work on Fridays, but actually went in on Friday morning, and did a walk around with a contractor to get some fiber quotes put together, a few other things like that. So it surprised me. I ended up spending part of 3 days out at the wastewater plant, which is 3 more days than I usually go out there. Thankfully.
Did it smell like really, really bad out there? Like this, like a nasty.
It usually doesn't
kind of smell.
It usually doesn't smell that bad. Some days are worse than other days, but usually it doesn't smell that bad.
All right. So Joe's been working out near a sewage lagoon, if you will.
Yeah.
Cameron's been working for the Department of Interior.
For the Fed.
For the Feds.
For the man.
And I now have a job working in media. Well, technically, I mean, I work IT now for a local TV station in town. But it's not just the TV station I do the IT work for. I do I'm responsible for basically all the Western stations in our group. So from Bakersfield to Portland to I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but there's a lot of stations I have. Boise, that's one I was thinking about. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I hope, by the way, when you gents come up into town that I go ahead and bring you guys in for a tour. And I can do that at any time. Granted, it's always fun to do it when there's more stuff happening. But yeah, I know you'll be coming in, Cameron, and so I'll give you guys a tour. So we have a couple of stories, thanks to Rob and Tammy, our producers, that we felt that maybe we want to chat about, and they do relate to gaming and geek stuff. And the first one I wanted to kind of bring up to your guys' attention here. Let me jump to that. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Windows 10 will not run games that were made with older DRM. For example, and these really only affect games that are on disk. A lot of the digital games like that were old that are covered by this have been corrected that don't contain that really bad old DRM. But essentially, if you're looking to play some of the older games from your CDs and install them onto Windows 10, they may not run. Essentially, there's a few games that were made with Secure ROM, which was a DRM package suite from 2003 to 2008, and simply don't run without a no CD patch or some such. And essentially what Microsoft is saying here is, well, we're not going to allow them to be installed because it would poke too many holes in our operating system and cause too much issue. And it really hasn't been supported now for quite a few years. Now, obviously, there's DRM options, DRM-free options, thanks to GOG. But do you guys have any opinions about this? I mean, for me, a lot of my games now are digital anyway, so it really doesn't, I don't feel hurt by this, but I know a lot of people don't want to use Steam or they don't want to use Origin, and they do buy physical copies of their media, and now, they can't really update to Windows 10, otherwise they can't play these older games. But you guys have any thoughts about that? Joe, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, if most people aren't playing a game that old at this point anyway. But yeah, there are other sources, GOG.com. There are websites out there that have no CD cracks available for pretty much every game that would have used one. I would say that I would so while technically using a crack like that might be technically against the law, it's definitely, if the developer's not going to put the effort and time into removing that, via a patch or something like that, it seems like that's not an unreasonable way to get around it and fix the problem on your own. I do think it's funny that Microsoft says that they don't want them to poke holes in Windows 10 When it last thing I saw, there were numerous options that you could turn off in Windows 10 that were supposed to make it more secure and more reliable and not leak all this information to Microsoft.
Right.
But after 30 days or however long of it being turned off, the agreement that you signed, that you agreed to when you installed Windows 10, just turned them back on.
Oh yeah.
And so saying, well, we can't put this stuff on here because it's going to make our systems unstable or poke a bunch of potential security risks, security holes in the OS. There's already a lot there. There's already a lot of Microsoft taking information out of Windows 10 without necessarily making it clear that that's what they're doing. So I don't know. I still haven't upgraded to Windows 10. I've thought about it, but it's just one of those things that I haven't gotten around to, and why bother?
Yeah, no, I've thought about making the move to the Windows 10. It's been bugging me on my computer, my gaming computer, saying, "Hey, it's ready to install. It's ready to install." But since I wasn't running Windows 8.1 anyway, and I've been feeling pretty secure with Windows 7, and everything's pretty solid and tip top. I don't feel the need to make the move.
Well, when more stuff comes out using DirectX 12, that's when it'll become more important.
Right.
Because DirectX 12 is a big upgrade, and there's a lot of stuff in DX 12 that will be nice to have. But until that point, and as far as I know, there aren't any AAA titles that are going to be DX 12 like exclusive type titles. So we'll see. But yeah, like I said, I just haven't upgraded to Windows 10. But then I also don't have too many antique DRM games that I go to play.
Well, games like Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004, for example, or the original Sims, or Grand Theft Auto 3. Yeah.
Wait, Flight Simulator 2000. There's still people playing that?
Yeah.
Didn't X come out more recently?
Oh yes.
And then Microsoft Flight came out even more recently, and then was abandoned.
Right. Well, that was Microsoft's stupid attempt to try to do the free to play market thing, and that obviously crashed and burned.
To make it an arcade, more or less.
They got away from the simulation side. Yeah,
Flight is much more arcadey than Flight Simulator X was. And if you're doing hardcore flight sim stuff, you should be given.
You're going to what, X-Plane now?
Yeah, X-Plane is the big one for that now. So I don't know.
By the way, that's Microsoft's stupid thing, because I know X-Plane was up and coming, but at the time with Microsoft Flight Simulator X, everybody was using that. Everybody was flying.
Well,
with
it was either X-Plane or Flight Sim X or Flight Sim 10, whatever you want to call it. And when Microsoft announced Flight, everybody who was a diehard, hardcore Flight Simulator buff was like, it's just going to be an arcade game. They skipped it. And then Microsoft just basically dropped. But there's still third-party companies that are releasing add-ons and stuff like that for both Flight Sim X and for X-Plane. But X-Plane is the only one at this point under active development in terms of a real hardcore flight sim program. So that's if you're into flight sims, you should be playing X-Plane. I'm sure that there's no one out there listening who will be in that group. But upgrade from Flight Sim 2004. That's ridiculous.
Well, I will say this: 2004 worked very well on my system. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but seriously, it's 11 years old now.
I know, but it ran
Flight
really
Sim X
smooth.
runs great on my system.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Flight Sim X runs fine on mine, and I don't actually have X-Plane, but I'm sure it runs pretty well too.
I haven't reinstalled it because the thing is, I still have it on disc. That's one of the few games I have over here on disc is Flight Sim X. Mm-hmm. And it's such a painstakingly slow process to reinstall. I really wish I could take this key and I'd get it magically in digital format on Steam and just be able to download it. But no, I don't get that, and it's very frustrating, and it's like whatever. But did you have any words on the move with DRM, Mr. Cameron, before we move on out of here? I just want to make sure you had a chance to say a few words.
No, I most of my digital media I've replaced. I've either rebought just to be able to download on Steam or lost. So
sticking with Windows 10 here for a moment, another thing that was recently discovered is that Microsoft could disable pirated games on their new console. According to the recently updated Microsoft Services Agreement, this is from PC Gamer Magazine, covering Xbox Live and Xbox and Windows games published by Microsoft, Microsoft can now disable pirated games from your computer. The clause can be found under Section 7B, updates to the services or software and changes to these terms. Basically, one of the eagle eyes of the community over there, Alpha, I believe that's called, noticed the change in the clause. So obviously, we buy legit games. We're totally okay with this. Is this something do you think Microsoft would actually pull the trigger on and pull the disabling of software flag? I mean, obviously other companies have been able. This is one of those things where the pirates are always going to win anyway, right? They're going to find a way to get around this with their form of anti-DRM. So is this really a lost point? Or what do you guys think?
I'm just afraid that somebody's going to pull the trigger on the wrong thing and disable a whole bunch of people that have legitimately purchased.
That's true. Or they have to be constantly connected or whatever.
Yeah, the line that actually has me concerned about this is, so the actual words from the terms of service is we may automatically check your version of the software and download software updates or configuration changes, including those that prevent you from accessing the services, playing counterfeit games, or using unauthorized hardware peripheral devices. May also be required to update the software to continue using these services. So the thing that has me worried about that is they're basically saying that, yeah, if you don't, that we're going to automatically update your stuff. You can't stop us. And by the way, these updates could break hardware that you've previously been using with these games if we have now decided that it is unauthorized hardware.
Yeah.
So that actually is sort of disturbing. Because it goes on to say that, you know, you may be required to update the software to continue using the services. That's fine. If I get kicked out of online service and it tells me I have to update, as long as I can keep playing offline or that sort of thing, I don't really care. But yeah, if it says no, you have to update in order to play this game at all,
right?
And this update will break this. Maybe you have an old Logitech somewhere, yeah.
But how is
maybe you have an old Logitech controller that isn't officially supported anymore, and Microsoft decides let's add that to our list of unauthorized hardware.
So let me ask you this,
or like a Ergodex type pad. Ergodex hasn't been supported in a long time. You're using third-party drivers for it to make it work. Microsoft decides that, hey, that's not an authorized configuration. You can't use it with our games anymore, and just breaks it.
So
well, what about all the off-brand like Xbox controllers? Does that fit in there as well?
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
So what's the difference between that then and say Steam, you know, forcing an update before you can play the latest Counter-Strike or play the latest Team Fortress 2? I mean,
well, Steam, I've not had Steam force an update before you can launch the game. Steam will force an update before you can play on the servers that they have,
okay,
or with some of those sort of things. But in terms of being, like I said, in order to play it offline or play it with a friend with the same version, I don't think you're required to update when an update comes out. You certainly can, but they don't require an update, and I don't believe that I guess, you know, we'd have to go and check it. I don't believe their terms of service say that they're going to break hardware peripherals that they have decided are unauthorized.
Okay. I guess when do you think, I don't know. I just don't think Microsoft would ever pull the trigger on something like this. I mean, obviously I think they're putting it in there for protectionary measures, maybe to show that they're against piracy, but obviously I don't know if they want to get on the bad side of any kind of PR, right? And I mean,
well, I don't think that it matters. So PC gaming for Microsoft at this point, PC gaming is secondary to Xbox gaming. They make way more money off Xbox gaming than they do off PC gaming. They make more money off
include the consoles on this. So yeah.
Right, but on a console it's a little different situation. You're buying into a locked ecosystem already. The idea behind building a PC or having a gaming PC is you're not locked into what the developer says you're allowed to have. And on a console it's not that big of an issue. You know, you got to think about it. You have everybody from tech people like yourself who are playing potatoes, who are playing consoles, all the way to you know, think of the least computer literate person you know, and that person is expected to be able to run an Xbox or be able to use an Xbox. So, you know, the range of capability for those people is huge, and they're going to market and they're going to work to the lowest common denominator because other people are just going to buy it anyway.
Yeah.
With a PC, it's a little different. People have to at least be a little bit comfortable with computers before they can start playing a lot of games on one. So I think that's part of why we've seen Minecraft take off so much, is that barrier of entry. It was a lot easier for people to get into and get started with than a lot of other PC gaming.
True.
So Microsoft says PC gaming is not that important anymore to them, monetarily wise. So if they put a statement in like this and people start jumping ship and abandoning Microsoft and saying, hey, Microsoft, you're doing this wrong, Microsoft can turn around and say, hey, look, we tried to support PC gaming, but nobody was interested, and so now we're going to close that division because it's not cost effective. So it's that hard part, right? You don't want companies to do this sort of thing. You want to boycott some of these attitudes and some of these approaches, but at the same time, the act of boycotting, because you're only able to boycott one platform, is going to make those developers say, well, that platform just isn't valuable to us anymore, and so we're just going to stop completely, not actually fix the problem that you wanted them to fix.
That's why we vote with our dollar, right? We try.
Sometimes it doesn't matter, like I said.
Yeah, well, remember the whole Call of Duty debacle on Steam, where it wasn't a group. It was a group where they would not buy.
They won't buy Call of Duty until they release dedicated servers, and like 3/4 of the group the day it came out had already bought it.
We're already playing it. Yeah.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, talking about supporting a game on PC and Steam, I'm going to announce here real quick here the winner of the Super Mega Baseball contest. Well, it wasn't really a contest; it's just a giveaway. So, in case you guys haven't seen it, Super Mega Baseball
Rated E for everyone.
Super Mega Baseball was a game that we actually saw back at PAX a couple years ago when it was called Big Fly Baseball, and it was at the time only available for PlayStation, but it is now available on all platforms. So Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and now on PC on Steam. It's only going to be PC only on Steam. Unfortunately, no Mac or Linux support right now. But yeah, it's a great, fun, non-licensed baseball title, and I enjoyed it immensely, and I've been playing it, and want to give a copy away to you guys right now, actually. And we had a contest over the weekend. People following us on Twitter and Facebook saw the big, great, awesome announcement. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually clicking on the name, or actually having it drawn at random, and the winner is Jacob Schuh, SCHUH. Follows the network on Twitch. There are many different ways you can enter, so congratulations to Jacob. I'll be contacting you after the show. Hopefully you'll contact me within the next few hours and claim your prize. If not, we'll draw again. But hey, congratulations to Jacob for winning a copy of Super Mega Baseball on Steam, which is awesome.
Yay.
Yay. I'll be gifting that over to you here soon. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to ask you guys, we're doing PAX again this weekend. We're going to be doing interviews, like I said. We're going to be chatting to game developers, checking out hardware, software, the whole 9 yards, even just the entire experience that PAX is. Is there anything in particular you guys are looking forward to doing at PAX, or just, what makes you come up to PAX every year, or, what does PAX mean to you guys? Joe, well, we can start with you, I guess. I mean, what do you think about PAX this year? Anything you're looking forward to, or anything like that?
No. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm curious to see how Minecraft adventure mode is going, or not adventure mode, story mode is going, and see how that looks. It looks interesting. It sounds interesting. At least check it out. Other than that, it's hard to say. So the thing that I do kind of like at PAX is I do like the slight focus they have on indie gaming back with their indie corner. It'd be nice if that expanded a little bit. It'd be nice to have an event that was much more centrally focused on those sort of low. It's hard to say indie gaming anymore because a lot of them are not really indie anymore. Let's say low budget game development. It'd be interesting. It's always good to see some of those projects because some of those that's where real gaming innovation and new ideas are coming from. I think. The big game developers are honestly just rehashing the same thing over and over again, and it's hard to find anybody doing something really really interestingly new. So it's always good to see those sorts of things and see what is going on there, and then it's always fun to walk around and see what everybody's done and see the different booth layouts and booth designs and that sort of thing. It's good to be able to see that stuff, and PAX is a pretty approachable place to see some of that because they are open to the public and open to everybody. E3 is sort of a limited crowd; not everybody can go to that one. Some of the other big expos are very limited in who's allowed to go to these, and PAX is a good one to go and see new things, new cool things that anybody can go and see. You just have to get up early enough to buy the ticket.
Or make sure you follow them on Twitter because they sold out in 10 minutes this year, which is just crazy.
Yeah, well, they need to do so PAX as a group. One of the things they're trying to do is they're trying to start more events. So they've been starting one a year for the last few years, one new PAX a year for the last few years, and my understanding is that's just going to continue. They've already announced, is it PAX India? I think
really
for next year. They have PAX South, they have PAX Australia, PAX East. This is PAX Prime. I believe PAX India was announced, and I want to say there was another one in Asia somewhere too. But yeah, they're pushing out one new PAX every year is what I've heard is their plan. So
wow,
kind of sounds like they're leaving Europe out of the whole bunch there currently.
Yeah, it's actually a good question. I don't know if they're going to open. I would assume that they'll be doing another one or do one in Europe at some point.
That does seem like sort of an opening. We need.
Yeah, somebody needs anyway.
Yeah, Cameron,
I'd go to that.
What do you think about PAX? Obviously, you come up and you do an incredible job doing the camera work for us, much better than John Kessler does. And since he's not listening to the show, I can say that. But Cameron. What brings you to PAX? What do you like coming up?
I like the whole India area, actually. Seeing where the little companies are going and kind of going down paths that haven't been gone down before in games, really.
Yeah, doing the previews and stuff. I mean, I remember when Don't Starve was in the indie game area, and it's a big title now. But then, it was in the indie game area. I remember when we ran into, Big Fly Baseball, which is now Super Mega Baseball. In the ups, there was no more room for them in the indie game area, so we found them on the 6th floor. I remember they were just had a little booth set up there, and they were showing off this awesome game. So yeah, I'm with you. I also love just the chilling and hanging out with your friends, playing maybe some Cards Against Humanity, or playing some old console games, or obviously the past couple of years they've had. A little mini arcade setup, with old school video games and pinball and things like that. That's what I really enjoy, and it's one of those things where I'm hoping this year for us we can get engaged in that stuff a little bit more, and that's why I what I want to do this year for coverage is we'll still have our interviews, but not as many. I want to make sure we have fun this year and just be casual and just have a good time and check things out and take pictures and do video and just have goofy stuff. That's why I have all the equipment at work waiting for me. But I'm going to use this small GoPro 3. I bought some external mics for it and a little bit of a handheld rig for more of a behind the scenes, more just us having fun on video, kind of video stuff. Kind of
put on a hard hat and let Kessler wear it.
No, because what we would see if John just had a lot of sheep. So
one thing I just ran across I didn't realize was going to be there is Square Enix is going to have a Just Cause 3 playable demo at this PAX.
Ooh.
So I may have to go over and check that out because I
did see that the Dreadnought guys
so much.
are supposed to have a booth.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we got very cool lanyards from them last year. I remember.
We did. And Cameron and I have new ones from that same group as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, mine's out in the living room. It's blue. It's very nice.
It's right here. So,
ooh. Yeah, I got my
this
Dreadnought.
is the blue one.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. And the red one that we got at PAX. See, the blue one is for Grey Goo apparently.
I thought it was like Grey Goose vodka there for a minute there. So
No, Grey Goo. It's an RTS that they also publish.
oh, cool.
So.
Well, I guess that's going to be it for the show. It's one of those things where, like I said at the top of the show, where, it may not be a weekly thing. Obviously, it may not always be a Sunday thing. But obviously, it's going to be one of those things where whenever we can get together, or let's say I was able to land an interview with somebody and chat about gaming or tech or whatever, it's just one of those things where this show gives me the outlet. But that being said, gents my good friends will always have first grabs at chairs. And if they're not available, that's okay. But if they are, they always get first shot. Want to say big thanks to John Kessler for being here, Mr. Cameron Atchley for going to be running the camera, at least on Saturday and part of Sunday.
Yeah, part of Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't fly out until like 8 o'clock. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And we'll see you here in the studio. It gives me a good excuse to actually clean up this space because while it may look clean behind me, it's a destruction area back around there that you guys don't see. So, by the way, I want to give you guys a reminder. This is a podcast. You can download the show. You can head over to the website at geekgamer.tv and head over to the Geek Gamer Live page, where you can actually go ahead and download and subscribe to us on iTunes. All the RSS feeds are still active. And our last episode, can you believe it? Nearly a year ago. October 13th, 2014 was the last episode. And so I hope to do these every once in a while, just talking about, various gaming and tech topics. They may not be long shows. They may be short shows, but it's something to get back into the fray. And then actually before that, we had our PAX Prime recap show. So perfect timing to be back and doing this. Other than that, I want to say big thanks to Joe and Cameron and John for being here. I can't wait to see them this next weekend. We hope to have a lot of great footage to share with you guys on this show and on geekgamer.tv. Please follow us on Twitter at geekgamertv. Also, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to us on YouTube. That's where a lot of the video is going to be going for our PAX stuff. So head over to youtube.com/geekgamertv and you can subscribe to us there. Other than that, you guys, thanks so much for Mr. Joseph Falbey, Cameron Atchley, John Kessler. My name is Chase Nunes. Until we all talk again, we're all silent. And since John's not here, I'm going to give it to Joe. Say goodnight, Grayson.
Good night, Grayson.
That worked.
Or Ducky.
Yeah, that worked.
Or Bob Saget.
There you go. Well, actually, I was going to do that. Fred Flintstone.
So good night, Ducky Bob Saget.
Good night, Ducky Bob Saget.